You're gonna love this. Uh, this morning I get a pop up which is called the Song of Aurora, the songs of Lyra, right? And then there was a little cat comment underneath about the Emerald Order and the Elohei. Okay, that was this morning. Okay, now first, as you know, I'm an oversoul polarity integrator, which means I cancel out the negative and the positive to experience the one. That's eternal unconditional love. Okay, so that's my baseline. That's home base, right? So now we get into the negative and the positive, the polarity consciousness state, right? Those that aren't integrated. And how do you know that? Because they're still tugging and warring between the polarities, between one and the other, to experience being one with all creation that we're gifting love to. So now I come across a channel, the AI pops up and says, look at this. And it's called Earn Your Leisure. And he introduced himself. He's a melanated guy, and he said he's talking the same language, right? Alkaline, alkaline and all the rest of this, right? And earn your leisure in the direction we're going in. And he mentioned another name called the Elohim. Now, if you know the history through the Voyager materials of the Elohim and the Elohei, right? And the problems that they're having between the two when you know the history, right? Which aren't in balance, right? When you know the history, which is the fall. Now we're back to the competition, the playing the ping pong, the binary game, right? So you know that when you're fully integrated, you're experiencing the one, which is three, which is one, which is trinary, okay? And so what this means is that folks need to learn to understand, but it's not that I needed Kim Go-Goon to say this yesterday, because I've known it since before I jumped in here. Everybody's getting the speed memo, right? Which basically means a liberation of the entire cosmos, which means love of the law is no longer negotiable. So as these servers are now clearing out, you can start to see how more and more folks that are waking up and they're experiencing more light, which is experiencing more love. We're ending all the wars, which would, if you will, be full polarity integration. Perfect balance. So this gentleman, I believe his name was Yaqui. No relation to Carlos Castaneda, by the way. I've met a few Yaqui Indians in a rehab hospital, if you will. Rehab. We're going to rehabilitate. And I did grow up with a word, because this is the way that the words work. When you understand, we say generator, like General Electric. GE, generate. Okay, so we know the definition of generate, right? And then I grew up with another word, it's called a degenerate. Well, what is a degenerate? Well, we know what a D wave is, so it's degenerating. No, what they meant by degenerate is you're a deviant. Oh, well, which meaning is it? Oh, we're back to the D again. The symbol and the letters and numbers are energy. So this is the game, right? Because the language is butchered, okay? Because it's not the original language, okay? It's not the original language of DNA. That's what they did. They wanted to butcher the language so that the waves are distorted, so that we're not in balance, okay? Always tugging and fighting against each other, because the lines of communication are not speaking the language of light, which is the language of love, which is what we feel through our soul, heart, and our soul, and the essence of our spirit, which is the power of fire. So it's always going to be based if you know how to light yourself on fire. And whether you can light yourself on fire is whether you're willing to let go of all your power, which is the perception of your power, right? So I used to get into this when I was a kid, when we started hanging around tough guys and bullies and gangbangers, because I grew up in Los Angeles. Their perception of power is through a gun and a weapon, because they live in fear of letting go of all their weapons. That's right. Because they're not willing to let go and experience eternity, to experience the most powerful spirit of fire. And that's what you've learned to let go. And stop living in fear of letting go and needing to hold on to energy, thinking that's the perception of your power, when the perception of true power is to be a God. And that means you're always in service to others, which means that love that we experience in us is gifting us love forever. So when we learn to forgive ourselves for all the crimes that we've done as a result of what we do to ourselves by what we do to others, that love is always there to forgive us, because that's what I did, and it works. And that's chapter 5. That's why when you get to 11, there's a spiritual awakening. And when you get to number 12, which is the original 12 spheres, what happens? We're all in love and service to others. Now we together as units of consciousness that represents what souls are experiencing what love is, that formation of consciousness will rewrite the history books to experience what we always inherited, which is knowing who we are, which is what love is. Because that's a vibration. So when you're experiencing what love is, and I'm experiencing what love is, and everybody's vibrating what love is, experiencing the one, then imagine how fast we recreate or build a new universe that is in love with itself. Because the love that I experience in me is the love I see in the mirror, which is everything that's in the mirror, which is what I am. I'm giving love to. That's lighting yourself on fire. Because now you're not holding anything in that mirror captive. Which means now you got full use of all the energy that represents eternity at your disposal to create what you want. That's true power. That's what true love gives us. That's the most powerful magic there is experiencing eternal love. Because that's what heals us. Have a great afternoon. Be good to yourselves.